As Joe Biden said, who has a way with words, this is... What? He said it's a big deal.
The DNC is selling T-shirts. It's in presidential remarks. The White House is going to get a lot of mileage out of those Biden remarks.
Indeed. Just a little bit of censorship out of the White House there. Top line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to the Good Friday edition of ABCNews.com's Top Line. I'm David Chalian here in New York.
And I'm Rick Klein in Washington on a great Friday. Thank you very much.
Every weekday, we're bringing you the latest political headlines, reporting, insight, analysis, everything you need and want to know about politics.
And stay connected. It's twitter.com/The Note. We're with you all day long.
Kick our Good Friday edition off, sir. What is your top line, Rick?
A great day at the White House on this Good Friday. It is looking up. An encouraging jobs report finally into the triple digits for the White House. They're able to tout job growth of 162,000 new jobs. There are lots of caveats attached about where those jobs come from, but this is the kind of figure the White House has been looking for some time. It gets them on the road back to positive territory, David.
Democrats, Rick, I've noticed sort of from the partisan side are touting this, lots of cheerleading, but the White House, Christina Romer with a sterile statement, obviously still trying to manage expectations about going forward. We'll talk to Austin Goolsbee from the White House about that in a moment. Poll position, that's our second headline of the day related to the economy. A new CNN opinion research poll out shows even though the Democrats have been in a pretty good news cycle here, clearly today's jobs numbers are part of that, Republicans are edging out Democrats 48% to 45% in who would do a better job handling the economy. That's a new Republican advantage there, a slight one, but one that indicates still just how tricky this midterm cycle is going to be for Democrats.
And it really indicates how, as the president has a longer time in office, he owns the economy more and more with every passing week and every passing month. Mentioning MITT, now one time might be a mistake, a second time I think might be a plan. President Obama earlier this week referred to Mitt Romney as a Republican presidential candidate. This morning in an interview, he called him the Republican presidential nominee. Now, this promotion comes, maybe this is the kind of praise you don't really want from the president, because President Obama knows that when he's talking about Mitt Romney in the context of health care, he is needling him in an area of vulnerability. It's a very good possibility that will be the person that he faces in 2012 and that health care will be a main issue. But I think it's fun to watch President Obama play with him right now.
It reminds me back in the days in 2004 when Karl Rove would show up at a Democratic campaign parade cheering on Howard Dean to become the nominee. And finally today, Hollywood wins. Yes, some breaking news out of the White House. Kal Penn, the actor famous from those Harold and Kumar movies. You remember the White House made a big deal. He left Hollywood, had worked on the Obama campaign, came to the White House to work in the Office of Engagement from the White House, part of their public face, public engagement. Well, now Hollywood is calling again. The bright lights, just too irresistible. Perhaps it's some contractual obligations as well. But he's going back to the million-dollar world of movie making.
You know, we had the White House drug czar on yesterday. We should have had him on today to get his reaction to this particular news. Those movies are interesting.
But we begin with the huge economic news that we got in today's jobs numbers, with 162,000 jobs added to the payroll, though that unemployment rate still sticking at a very troubling 9.7%. We're joined by one of the top economic advisors at the White House, of the President's Economic Advisory Board, Austin Goolsbee from the White House Lawn. Austin, thank you for being here. And I want to ask you, why, I see a statement here from DNC Chairman Tim Kaine that says the president's unrelenting focus on the economy is working. But then Christina Romer's statement out of the White House seems almost sterile. It's a gradual labor market healing. You can't really read anything into this. Isn't this evidence that you guys are turning around the economy? I don't understand the somber mood from the Romer statement out of the White House.
Well, let me first start by my somber mood. I'm hurt and offended that you didn't ask whether the million-dollar Hollywood contracts were calling for me. I have not accepted any such contract at this point.
We'll put those rumors to rest, Austin.
Now, look, on this is an encouraging start. On any monthly numbers, there can be some variability. Obviously, a plus 162,000 is a much better place to be than we have been in a long time. It's the best Friday we've had in 3 years. In the job market sense. And I think what Dr. Romer pointed out is what we all should do, and that is you want to take a little bit of a longer focus. You don't want to just take 1 month. But if you look at this quarter, we're averaging about 50,000 jobs a month created, which is a beginning. And you compare that to the minus 700,000 jobs a month that we had in the quarter the president took office, and you see we've come a long way.
How much of this is real private sector growth in your mind? And obviously the census workers played into this. The fact that the February storms may have delayed some hiring played into this. When you look at this number, is there a real number that you drill down on and say this is actual growth?
I don't know real number. As I say, for this month, we know there were 48,000 from the census. But if you take that out, I mean, I think it shows pretty widespread inklings and a modest beginning of job growth really across most sectors of the economy. So I thought that was a pretty good sign in the jobs report.
You call it a modest beginning. I understand that. Explain to me, though, are you guys thinking this is the beginning of a story that you're going to be able to tell the nation from this point forward? It's only growth from here, folks, and we are going.
Look, I certainly hope that's a story. The president, I don't think we should take our foot off the gas and think everything's solved. I mean, more than 8 million people have lost their jobs since the recession began in 2007. But I think this is the beginnings, and we're hoping that we're getting some sustained growth. You get some wind in the sails, you know, and this thing can go of its own accord.
Austin, obviously you head up the Economic Recovery Advisory Board. How much of this, or would we already be in a period of recovery, do you think, without the stimulus?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you recall back when we were debating the Recovery Act, the consensus among professional forecasters that do that for a living was that we probably would not see any positive growth for the entire year of 2009, when in fact by the second half of the year we had a full half year of growth in 2009, which was not predicted at the time we were doing that. So I think that we put out a report, the Council of Economic Advisors, each quarter on what's the best evidence we have of what impact it's doing, and I think we would be in a far worse situation now had we not done it.
Austin, one of the other things that Dr. Romer put in her statement today after the jobs numbers came out, she said further targeted actions to spur private sector job creation are critically needed to ensure a more rapid, widespread recovery. Yeah. What are those further targeted job actions, and when will we see them?
I would say you've seen the president talking about them. They're in his 3 key targeted areas. One is small business. Both you saw the higher tax credit for small business expansion, as well as his push to try to get more lending to small business because credit's been very, very tight. The second is the area of infrastructure, and the third is the area of clean energy. I think those are the 3 targeted areas that he has in mind.
Any concern about the fact that the stimulus is really having its maximum impact right now? Do you need to go back to that and maybe put some more money into that?
There's some, there's some concern. As we talked about the last time I was on the show, we're up to a high, and it kind of bounces around at the high, and then it will start to come down. It is certainly our hope that what we get to is a situation where the private sector starts filling in the void, and I think in the jobs numbers today you start seeing that the economy's picking up, but it's certainly something that we want to keep our eye on because it is a concern.
It's not certain that we're there yet, so there's a possibility, you think, of having to have more federal stimulus dollars?
Well, I would prefer to think of it as these targeted jobs program I think are still pretty important, and the president's been out front on that.
One man's targeted jobs program, another man's stimulus. Austin Goolsbee, thank you very much for joining us from the North Lawn of the White House today.
Great to see you guys again.
Appreciate it. Have a good weekend, sir.